Hello everybody, John here, and today onto the garage we're looking at the best way to restore our black trim and bumpers. Hi everyone. So a few weeks back now I sort of teased you that I'd got a new way of doing my bumper restoration or black trim restoration that I was testing out, and it was looking really promising. Well, I've been doing my experiment now for about 1,000 miles and 6 weeks, and I'm ready to share. So here we go. So this is Jazzy. You've seen her on the channel already. This is my 2014 IH 630 RL Ducato, and she's in very good condition, near mint. She's got a couple of issues, a tiny little scratch on the back. She's got a little bit of a scuff from an incident with a shopping trolley, I guess, or something in the past on the front. And the only other thing is her plastics have faded to grey. There's a song in there somewhere. And they go the same way on all vehicles who have this sort of stuff, regardless of makes. The hotter the climate, the worse it is. And they got this sort of washed out effect comes in, and it's not very even, and you see the ripples, and you can actually tell where it's thicker plastic behind because it stays a little darker. And it's not the best. Mine are not tragic. Some go really white, but once you've restored some of it, you see just how much they've changed. So I did the entire front of my van with this new technique, with the exception of that bottom lip, which I left for contrast. And you can see the van is dirty. I wanted you to see that it's actually been driven. This is not a recent thing. So she's done 1,000 miles or so. And I've just got a wet towel here, which I'm gonna use. So yeah, you can see all the rubbish that's accumulated on it already, but a vigorous wipe with a wet towel. Like so. Why are you showing us this, John? Well, I don't want you to think I've just done it and shown you the immediate after effects. I left the dirt on. Yeah, you see, nothing black has come off. This is just the road muck. I'll give it a dry. Okay, being quite vigorous. And there we go. Now, it's not perfect. So I've cleaned that off, the water will evaporate, but what I want to show you, and hopefully it shows up on film, you've still got the grain in here, so it's not masked that. You can also see where I haven't gone right to the edges. So part of that is the issue with application, but also my bad, simple as that. But the effect overall, I am so impressed with. I've also done another experiment where I got some IPA, isopropyl alcohol, at 90% on a rag and rubbed. Now, it did fade the bumper just a touch. In fact, that's where it was. I don't know if you can see. Let's re-wet that. There we go. Oh, find a dry bit. Don't know if that shows up, but yeah, I gave this a rub with some alcohol and it did fade it just a little bit there, but the effect has gone on and has lasted and has not really changed in 1,000 miles in 6 weeks. This is the contrast between done and not done. Now, previously, I had done a video on a Volkswagen T4 I used to own, showing a technique using a plastic bumper paint that gives you back the textured finish by spraying on in a pimply style. And that worked really well, but I didn't want to do this on this van because look at how many bits of black plastic I'd got. And all of these bits of black plastic would need very careful masking off and quite a lot of masking off around the van to sort it all out. So yeah, works well, lasts well. I had the van for another 18 months after I did it and it really didn't degrade. So if you want to see that video, I'll put a link somewhere on screen now for you. But I wanted something easier to apply, and I've tried most of the back to black silicone sprays, oil-based sprays, the little tiny bottles of serum that maybe have a letter and a number attached to them. And yeah, they're all good and they all give a nice finish, but not for very long, if I'm honest. The back to black type sprays, silicone and oil sprays, might give you a couple of weeks of looking nicer, but they very quickly wear off. You can also warm up the bumpers using a heat gun or a very hot hairdryer, get them just the right temperature, and the oils within the plastic start to leach to the surface and give you back the black effect. And that actually lasts okay, probably gives you a month or more. But essentially this plastic contains pigment. It's disappeared from the surface. By heating it up, you're bringing some of the pigment from further back forward and allowing it to colour it. So you've diluted the amount of pigment in the plastic, you've made it slightly more brittle and prone to sunlight. So yeah, it works, but you're on a never-ending circuit to pure white trim eventually. So I saw this product and thought I'm going to give it a go. Some of you will have seen it as well, because lots of people I think have been sent it and are doing YouTube reviews on it. I bought this. This is not sponsored at all. This is just what I chose and I've been using it. And it's called Turtlewax Hybrid Solutions Graphine Acrylic Trim Restorer. And I'm not going to bother with the instructions and things because I've read them. You can read them yourself. I'll just show you how it goes on and you can make your own minds up. It appears to be a stain. Some of it is on the plastic, some of it appears to go into the plastic. You've got to apply at least 2 coats, and I've got to say most of my front bumper, 5 coats. But I'm quite pleased with the finish. It still has areas where I need to do more. You might be able to see an area here. It doesn't look even. It's easy to apply. I don't think it's very easy to get a good finish. So this is something you buy because you really want to improve your vehicle. You're going to spend a bit of time. It's a hobby. You'll enjoy the job. If you want a 5-minute tool, nah. Also, you've got to be careful where you get it. You can get it back off your paint because the paint's shiny enough and hard enough, but it will come back off, where it's a bit of a pain. It will stain all sorts of things, any cloths you use, any clothes that get on it, they're goners. Wear gloves. I know everything says wear gloves, but trust me, wear gloves. The lid on this is not very well sealed. I've seen another YouTuber who shook it up and got some on him, and he thought maybe the lid wasn't on properly. When I unscrewed the lid of this, the tin foil seal below it, which I didn't know was there, was not complete. It was sort of buckled and letting some out, and so I ended up covered in the stuff. So not so good. And this container, I've had to clean up the back to be able to read the instructions. So it's a bit messy, but the results are excellent. £12 in the UK. How big's the bottle? 296 millilitres. So I'm going to do this bit for you live, no cuts, and you can see for yourself and decide for yourself whether you want to have a crack at it. I'm liking the look of it. Okay, so I'm gonna just clean this off a little more. Again, I'm using a wet towel. It's been washed previously, but it rained. Now you could definitely mask the bodywork off. It's probably advisable, but in reality, I'm not going to mask every panel on this van, so might as well carry on the way I intend to do the vehicle. Just going to make sure it's properly dried off. I'll leave any moisture. And you can see the contrast even with a wet panel. I'm using an applicator pad, a foam pad. This one happens to be a Maguire's one, but a terry towel in microfiber pad, foam pad, whatever you've got. There we go. This stuff's quite thin. See if I can show you it pouring out. There you go. So it will pour. I haven't had to squeeze the bottle at all. I've not got much of an indication yet how much I'll need to do the van, but I suggest I'm going to use more than one bottle. But at the price, I'm not going to be too worried. All you need to do is wipe it on. The instructions say to use a combination of circular and straight rubbing. I think the circular is to try and get into the grain, and the straight because as it's a dye, it is a little like painting, and you can see your brush marks if you're not careful. And it does say you should do at least 2 coats, and I agree, because you kind of got the brush marks left behind by my pad, and even if I thought that was dark enough, it's not even enough. So we get our next coat. The thicker you put this on, the more you will get a gloss effect. The thinner, the more matte it is. So you've got a little bit of control over that. You can see it's not a technically difficult task at all. I suggest 3 to 5 minutes drying time between coats. That's going to depend dramatically on your weather conditions, I think, and also how badly oxidized your plastics are. If they're really white, they'll be very porous and very absorbent. They'll probably dry really quick. If your plastics are okay and you're just topping up the finish, it probably takes longer to dry. Okay, I know I said one wouldn't cut, but I will edit drying out because drying is very boring. Getting anything you get on the paintwork off immediately or quite quickly. I've got a little plastic scraper tool, and I've just wrapped a tissue around it. Just makes a good tool. As long as this stuff's still wet, it really comes off very easily off paint. I guess the more you wax your vehicle, easier it is. And I did find a few bits after it had fully dried, and yeah, it's a bit more scrapey, but you'll get them off with plastic tools and a bit of tissue. Okay, so you join us back after 4 minutes, I think, and see, it's not even, but it's significantly blacker than this, and it's got this sort of first coat of paint type effect. So I'm going to do exactly the same thing now and see how it turns out. There we go. It's gonna need a third. I'll come back when it's dry. Okay, unfortunately the light is changing. That's just the natural world for you. That's 2 coats, and at 2 coats it's probably as black as the front and significantly improved, but we are still, for me, a little grainy, not grainy, brush marky, let's say. So I'm going to give that a third and call it quits at that. So again, I'm going to do exactly the same. I'll come back to you in a couple of minutes. There, and that's that, and that will dry pretty even, and we'll move on to the next panel. So what's my conclusions? I can't tell you exactly how long this thing lasts. They're very vague and clever in their marketing. It says it will last seasonally. Seasonal use, seasonal application. What's that mean? 3 months? 6 months? A year? It's hard to say. And to be fair, they've got to be the vague news because it will last longer depending on your climate, heat, etc. But I'm very happy that it already lasts longer than most of the applications you can do, which I call an illusion. So if you wet these panels, they'll look a lot blacker. That's the illusion of being blacker. And if you put olive oil on it, it gives the illusion of being blacker, but it doesn't dry out as quick as water. And various sprays and lotions and potions are really easy to apply and give a very good, quick dress up, but they don't last very long because they fade or they wash off. This is not washing off. This is enduring monsoon weather whilst being driven down motorways. Yes, I can use alcohol on it and get some of it off, so it's definitely on the surface rather than completely in the plastic. But I'm very, very impressed, and at the price, worth a go. It does need a little bit of care and skill, i.e., you know, how's it going to look? What's the finish like? Not leaving brush marks. Whereas an aerosol of something is obviously dead easy and away you go. So that is my go-to choice for black trim on this bit of a monster black trim job. Obviously I'll come back to you over time and let you know how it's getting on. I will make a point of leaving at least one item untreated as a reference to see how things have changed. Hope you enjoyed that. I'll put a link to this Turtlewax product in the description below. It is not sponsored. I bought that, so I'm saying exactly what I want, but pretty good. If you're enjoying our channel, then don't forget to subscribe and click the little bell icon so you get notifications of new videos. And please give us a thumbs up or thumbs down, and you can share the videos. And below the video is always the area where you can comment and get involved with the chat.